Hi, thank you for joining me today. I'm here with Mike Meechin, who is known by many as the disruptor of status quo. In addition to being a key speaker himself at many major events, in his day job, he is actively working with students. He is the principal of the NeoCity Academy, which is part of the school district of Osceola County in Florida, just south of Orlando. Michael was selected recently as the 2019 State of Florida's Innovative Principal of the Year, an outstanding honor for the programs that he's put in place and the results that he's getting. There's a lot we can discuss, so why don't we discuss some of the real struggles that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused you. You know, this was hit hard by many, totally unprepared. And, you know, how has this affected you either in terms of classroom learning or online learning? How has that affected you?
Yeah, Dennis, great. It's a great question. You know, the K-12 setting, you know, has really been tremendously impacted, you know, and we have an impact on the greater community, right? We provide a safe place for students to go during the day, oftentimes when their parents are going out to work and you know, helping the economy. But, you know, internally, our day-to-day, it required a shift on the dime. For example, for us here in Florida, you know, we went to spring break and we never came back face to face. And we needed to finish our last 9 weeks last school year, you know, positioned to make this dramatic shift to online learning entirely. And, you know, I think it speaks to, it was for us at NeoCity Academy, it was a smoother transition than most. We've built a learning environment here that is built upon the idea that flexibility is essential. You know, we provide a lot of student-driven instruction and student autonomy and teacher autonomy. And because we do that, and because we're a one-to-one environment, our students work on laptops every day, even when they're here on campus. You know, the shift was not as difficult. And we serve as a lab school, Dennis, so we think that the model that we employ here is probably a good model for all. And I think our transition during a time that was really chaotic, I think speaks to the need for school districts to really look at flexibility. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about the building and campus, but you know, the building itself was designed with that in mind. So, you know, those things are really important.
So, you know, it's wonderful that you've been able to integrate technology before the pandemic hit, because many times technology is kind of just added on to the system that you already have in place. And thank God we've moved past the computer lab days. Remember, you used to have the computer lab and everybody go down the hall to the computer lab. But you've certainly integrated technology into the whole curriculum, and it's just worked for you very well. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about what you're doing from a technology standpoint and how that's really provided the teacher with the autonomy that they need to really, you know, create the curriculum and an effective learning management system that makes all the difference for kids.
Yeah, we look at technology and its use in education a little bit differently probably than most. We believe that technology needs to be ubiquitous, right? We know that it needs to be all around. Well, it already is, right? Our kids live in a world where no matter where they go, they're immersed in it. Oftentimes the place that they are least exposed to technology is school. And that's a problem. That's a problem as we're educating them for tomorrow's workforce. So for us here, you know, we really are looking at how do we leverage technology in the classroom. So sure, when you walk into our classrooms, you're going to see laptops, you're going to see students using, you know, a learning management system. You're going to see them using obviously productivity tools. We have amazing technology through this form of smart technology, smart boards and touchscreen monitors in our classrooms. But that's not what what makes us innovative. Instead, it's looking at from the pedagogy side, it's what are the kids doing with that technology. So a great example is, our students might be working on a writing piece about clean water. And they may be working on that in English, but instead of writing a paper for their English teacher and receiving a grade, instead what we do is we use technology to take the students' writing and create a blog post about why we need clean drinking water in XYZ countries. And then we have them do the research about how to make that happen. Maybe they develop a prototype for a filter. And then we publish that work for a global audience, Dennis, so that they're using the technology to go and change somebody's mind or have an impact on the global community. That's how we take technology and we leverage it for its most powerful form. It's the same thing that we're doing right now, right? You're using a video conference to reach out in a format that you probably wouldn't have to do if there weren't a pandemic going on. So it's that same system that sometimes in education we think, hey, we're going to put these iPads in this classroom, and it's amazing. Well, if you don't look at what are you doing with that, always. I watched the Simon Sinek video on TED Talk where he talked about always starting with your why, right? We always have to know what it is we're going to do and why we're going to do it. And that's how we plan the technology instruction on this campus.
That's the golden circle.
The golden circle, 100%, absolutely. Yep.
That's right.
The highest performing companies know what they do. We can do that in education too. There's zero reason why. Outstanding.
I'm impressed that you know that video. That's an outstanding video.
That's been a way of my work, Dennis. That's been a way of my work and my teachers here. Even at my previous position before that, when I saw that, it makes all the sense in the world. And we make our decisions for kids with the why front and center, and the same results that high performing companies get, high performing schools will get if they keep their eye on that.
So is it fair to say that you have moved away from textbooks and what I would kind of call the standardized assessments? And if you have, how have you been able to do that?
Yeah, so I wish the answer were yes. However, we have certain things that are in the locus of our control, and then we have certain things that are not. And some mandates that are provided either by the state or by federal government just haven't caught up yet. They will. But for example, we offer a wide range of advanced placement courses here. So AP courses, College Board, those still are a little bit more traditional. The students sit for a multiple choice assessment at the end of the year. We use what we would consider traditional textbooks in those classrooms. But in our other ones, all of our text is digital. Almost everything on the campus is teacher created, and it is distributed by the use of technology, and it is consumed and then turned in a completely paperless format. So, there's areas of our teaching and learning that have definitely progressed further. And that's where we look at ourselves as a lab school for others to look at and learn from. But then there's others that we hope that maybe like companies like, the advanced placement and even SAT and ACT will learn from and be able to eventually adapt. And then of course, we have state assessments that are required by state law for high school graduation. So, we have to provide students with those assessments. The easy answer, Dennis, though, is if we're focused in this building on inquiry, right? We want to take kids to the highest levels of learning. And we believe at the foundation of our core that if we do that, you can put any type of multiple choice assessment in front of our students and they are going to be able to problem solve their way through it. And that's the belief that we kind of employ here on this campus.
Exciting. Thanks so much for sharing that.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, very exciting. Well, from a pandemic standpoint, are the students in school now? Are they at home? Or are they in school and separated from distancing?
We currently are employing a hybrid model. So we have,
Okay.
we gave the choice to families. So they could either return to school, obviously using CDC safe practices, social distancing, masks on campus, those types of things, or they can consume their education digitally. Right now, we're about 82% of our students decided to return face to face. So things are almost back to normal on campus in terms of the day-to-day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to ask you a question that deals with the term simplicity. And that is, at this point, the pandemic hit pretty quick and pretty hard and surprised everybody. No one had time to prepare for it. And when you get a problem that hits you that fast, it is certainly complex. And trying to work through a complex problem very quickly is a challenge. And the best way often to approach that challenge is to use the word simplicity, which is, when you look back, you say, it's just this simple. Well, it's not that simple, but if you can break it down and make it that simple, others will follow. So what are your thoughts on simplicity and how you've applied it in this pandemic situation?
For us, it was a great opportunity, Dennis, for us to go back and, I often call it the back to basics. Mm-hmm. And for us to really look at what is most important in a student's education. And let's compile a simple list mm-hmm. of what those most important things are. And let's do those things. And let's do those things really well. Mm-hmm. And let's move everything else aside, because there's a lot of, the public education system is often referred to, and sometimes rightfully so, as a very bureaucratic system. Let's filter through a lot of that, and in this particular time of crisis, let's keep the students truly front and center and figure out what they need. I mean, there were kids, Dennis, that school for so many kids, the physical building is a tremendous outlet for them. Mm-hmm. And we took that was taken away too. So it wasn't just about shifting immediately to a different type of learning. It was about one of the most consistent norms in their lives was immediately taken away. And mm-hmm. that's a big deal. And it forced us to really come back to say, what is most important? Is learning standards in United States history, and I'm a former social studies teacher, as essential as making sure that students have social emotional learning skills to be able to cope and work their way through this pandemic. And for us, I think we will come out on the other side much better off. I think that we will be better off. I think you will see some things that we have learned tremendously, during this transition. So I'm hopeful too, but I think the going back to basics and keeping things simple, I think, is something that we need to do. And to be quite frank, that's part of my practice. I try mm-hmm. I call myself the deflector in chief sometimes, where my job is to take mandates from the state or the federal government and protect my students and teachers and keep things simple. Let them teach. Let the students learn.
I love that.
We find here our kids are producing some of their best learning when we just get out of their way. Yeah. And we need to do more of that. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean,
phrase.
that's how it works. So. Yeah.
But, the pandemic came fast and hard, and it has affected everybody a little differently. As we move forward, I think I'm getting asked questions about what's the future look like? Is there anything that's we can learn that's going to be applied as we move forward? Now, from your standpoint, I think you've already reacted very well to this, but can you forecast any lessons that are going to continue to move forward with you, whether it's space planning or curriculum? Is it more distance learning? You seem to weather the storm quite nicely.
I don't think, I think a lot of families learned how difficult the job of educating children actually is. So I think there's going to be some tremendous value for educators in this country, which is needed.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that that will help further the dialogue, and we can see the importance of a great teacher. But I think also, you know, because we were forced into this world of technology use, districts had to scramble to find devices and figure out, you know, a need for, you know, Wi-Fi capabilities, right? Like it's becoming a point where that's just a need. You know, cities and municipalities and states are going to have to look at, how do I build up this infrastructure so that I don't need to worry about underserved populations not being able to access the internet, because it is becoming a necessity in 2020, right, and beyond. So I think that there's hopefully some things that we will learn as a global community that will help move us all forward. I think in the teaching and learning space, I think we're going to see better use of, I think you will see a whole wide range of reforms and hopefully better professional development on how we do, you know, what we talked about earlier was, how do we effectively use technology in the classrooms? It's not just about connecting virtually. It is about how can you use amazing tools to go out and change somebody's mind, or, you know, build something for the future, or provide a presentation for global consumption, or create a piece of work that can be consumed by a global audience. Those things are all really important. I think we're learning painfully that technology can be a doorway to some of those things.
Yeah, it seems like since your students are all about problem solving, this pandemic is an outstanding real life experience of problem solving. And whether coming out of this, they might come up with some solutions that deal with apps on their phone, and more distance learning, and other ways of integrating solutions where they can still collaborate together in small teams during bad weather, during pandemics, or as just life in general. I don't know. I don't know if your kids could come up with some solutions. I bet they could.
Yeah, we definitely have already. I mean, we're tackling, one of our pathways, our programs of study here is something that we refer to as biodesign, and it is built to look at how technology impacts healthcare. What better way? You know, it's an unfortunate situation that we're in, but I mean, we're looking at the effectiveness of data use in the public health setting. We're looking at contact tracing and how we can make that more effective. Looking at the development of vaccine and the genetic makeup of human beings. And that was work that we were already looking at, but now the COVID-19 pandemic really has been a great opportunity for us to look at real world solutions that are needed. This generation that we have here, these students that will graduate, these are going to be the students that tackle, hopefully, our next pandemic that we don't ever see, but we'll have the tools and be equipped to be able to tackle that.
Right. Well, I know you'll be attending the EDspaces 2020 virtual conference, and there'll be a lot of people there, a lot of sharing of information. Is there any last few comments that you'd like to share on this video that'll be posted, that are lessons that you've learned that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I mean, we believe at NeoCity Academy, you know, it's our mission to find students that want to have an impact in the world. And we're always looking for partners to be able to do that. We're not looking for, unlike most schools, we're not looking for financial backing. We want your brain power, right? We want your problems. We want to be able to work and collaborate with companies, you know, particularly in the design space. Everything that we do here is focused on design thinking. And would love to be able to collaborate. So of course, you know, we have a pretty robust presence on all of our social media networks, and we are very transparent in the things that our students are working on. So, you know, if anybody wants to connect, I would encourage them to do so. There's always a great way for us to partner with them. And geography is not a barrier. You know, we have great tools like Zoom, and are able to video conference. So we're able to connect our students with, you know, with great professionals from around the world. to collaborate on the problem solving process. So for us, that's really my only ask, is we're looking for, for partners and problems to solve.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you for contributing your expertise to this interview. I'd just like to end by saying I am Dennis Young, Principal of Issues in Education, the premier platform for engaging thought leaders on the most important issues facing education today. Thank you for joining us.